We take in orphaned and injured wild birds and we rehab them and we put them back into the wild, and we also take in exotics. We are licensed by the state and the federal government to do bird rehab, but we don't get any funding from them. So I tell everybody, we need your time, your talent, and your money, and not always in that order. Basically, it comes down to we put food in one end and take care of what comes out the other end. It's not real glamorous, I would say, but it's definitely something that needs to get done. No matter what position you hold in our organization, everybody unfortunately has to clean cages, and we do a lot of that here. You have to realize a bird poops about every 10 minutes, so there's a lot of things to do here. First off, your time. If you can ever come and help us out, we'd always love for you to do so. We need help from people any day that ends in the letter Y. Birds have to be cared for every single day, and we can always appreciate your coming in. Even if you've got a half hour, give us a call. Let us know. As long as we've got somebody to show you around, we need your help. And then your talent. Maybe you do something special. Maybe you're good at fixing things, and God knows I'm good at breaking things. So we'll go ahead and we need you to maybe work on some aviaries, maybe fix some of our perches for us, or help us figure out a new water system, or it could be just about anything. Had a couple of times where we've had scouting groups just come out and spend a day and help us do a major cleanup, which is something we always appreciate because the weeds get growing and sometimes this gets kind of pushed in this corner, and so we're always looking for that type of a thing. We've also had the military come out here. Luke's Air Force Base has come out a couple times and helped us out with that, and all of that help is worth its weight in gold. We don't count. Some days you really don't want to know, but we do take in about 2,000 birds a year. So it can go change on any given day. We're starting to slow down from baby bird season, where we will probably get about 300 birds here at that time. But we're ending baby bird season soon, and so it'll be slowly going down. And then it's just injuries, and then we start doing our presentations where we go out and we do outreach to the community, where we go ahead and we might, if you have a festival, we'll go ahead and we'll bring a bunch of birds out and put a tent up and get to meet and greet people and let them know about us and see if there's some way we can get you to come and join us and help us out in our madness. Then also we do presentations for groups. I do about a 1-hour lecture of what to do if you find a bird and what not to do. And then we bring some guys out with us and we'll talk about what makes them specific or special in some way. We take all birds. So a little different than most groups that'll take, there's one that'll just do raptors, where we do the raptors, the songbirds, and then the waterfowl is another thing, and then we also do exotics. That's another entity that kind of took a life on its own that we weren't originally planning on doing, but people found out we knew stuff about birds and they started bringing them to us. But we are online is one thing. I know that we deal a lot with the animal controls, Surprise, Peoria, Glendale, definitely work with them a lot. The police departments bring us birds even. So that, and then doctor's offices, a lot of them. A lot of people don't realize is that they don't teach birds in vet school. It's actually a 2-week elective that you can take or not take. And so there really are only 3 licensed avian board certified vets in the state of Arizona, and they're one of 135 in the world. And we are fortunate enough to work with Dr. Hillary Frank, who's at North Central Animal Hospital, and she is our backup. So if there's something that we can't figure out or need help with, she's our go-to person, and we got the best there is. Basically, my husband used to bring home birds and go, here, do something. And I had 6 children looking up at me going, yeah, Mom, do something. And this was way before the internet, so most people don't remember back then, but I figured it out. I joined another group that I found out about, and unfortunately, they folded their doors. And bird rehab, basically, in order to get out of it, it's like the mafia. You have to move, die, something. People will find you. And I'll have people that, were here 7 years ago, they remembered I was in this area, and they'll drive up and down the streets and ask my mailman where I am. Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to sit back and observe. Because especially during baby bird season, baby birds leave their nest about a week before they can fly. And they come down out of the nest and Mom and Dad follow them around. They teach them how to find food, hide from cats, and all the things that birds need to know to be a bird. And what normally happens is somebody sees the bird, immediately walks up, picks it up, and walks away with it. And Mom and Dad can't stop you, but they're up in the tree watching you walk away with their baby. So always sit back, watch, and if the parent doesn't come and visit the baby at least once every 2 hours, then we would definitely want to intervene. The other things we're looking for are injuries. So if a bird is limping, dragging a wing, acting lethargic, gets caught by a cat or a dog, missing a body part or bleeding, we want you to act immediately. Now, like everything else, there's exception to the rules, and that would be the hummingbird. Hummingbirds are the only birds that fly directly out of their nest and should never be on the ground. Killdeer, quail, and ducks. Those babies should always be in a group, and if they are ever alone, pick them up immediately. Then the next thing would be we don't want you to worry about food, water, anything. I want you to get them warmer than your hand. A bird should be warmer than your hand, and if you start putting water in their mouth or anything like that, and they're cold, they won't digest, and they actually can go into shock. So we need them to get warm first. Don't do anything else. Then you can also take dry dog or cat food and soak it in water and let it get spongy. And once it gets spongy, you can take little pieces of that and put it in their mouth, about the size of a pea, roughly, or half a pea. And you do that about every 15 to 20 minutes, sun up to sundown. We don't have to get up at night with them. They get to sleep, and so do we. So that's good. Or you could give them little pieces of fruit, oranges, apples, grapes, watermelon. Those are always good things. This is not for a hummingbird. Don't give that to a hummingbird. Is definitely a thing. But some birds will gape where they open their mouth. That's very easy to do. But doves and pigeons don't open their mouth. So it's not uncommon to get a question, well, I've got this bird here, but he won't open his mouth to eat. Well, you probably have a dove or a pigeon. The one thing I'm going to tell everybody is don't ever, ever, ever put water in a bird's mouth. And the reason for that is a bird's airway is on the bottom of their mouth behind their tongue. And if you start dropping water into there and one drop gets into that airway, they will aspirate, they will die, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop it. If you give them the dog or the cat food that's soaked or the fruit, they're going to get their moisture, they're going to get some protein, and it's going to bypass that airway, and you're going to have a better chance of survival. This happens to be a turkey vulture, and a lot of people don't think they're very pretty, but we think he's a beautiful bird. He really is. What they do is they do eat dead things.
What we have here are great horned owls. We get, on average, about 12 of them a year, and most of them come in as very small, white, fuzzy chicks because they've fallen out of the nest. They are at golf courses, they're in your neighborhoods, they're everywhere, but because they're nocturnal, unless you're up very early in the morning or very late at night, you might not be aware of them being in your neighborhood, but they are all over the city and all over the country. They will stay with us when they come in. They stay with us the way they would with their parents until all through the summer. We'll release them late September, early October, and we'll do that sometimes at events, and other times volunteers will take them to other locations. We don't want to release them all in the same area because you don't want too many of those in the same area trying to compete for food. This is our red-tailed hawk. We believe it to be a female because of the size. In the raptor population, this red-tailed hawk, she came in with an injury to her left wing, but the people who rescued her, by the time she got to us, it was too late for our vet to be able to fix the broken bone. So it had already started to heal. They calcify, and once that happens, you can't break them. They're hollow for flight, they're hollow, so you can't break them and expect them to have the same aerodynamics that they had before the break. So while she can fly to some degree, she wouldn't in the wild be able to fly well enough to hunt and feed herself. So she was determined to be not releasable. She was also not even a year old. She didn't have her red tail feathers when she came in. They have to go through a first year full molt before they get their red tail feathers. Up until that time, they're barred, kind of brown and white, so that they blend in as youngsters. So she didn't have the advantage of being able to be with her parents the whole time and be able to get, you know, the lessons that they get from the parents in order to fend for themselves. But that's actually a raven that was here and that we released. That's a real live rescue. And then the one in the cage, she's been with us. She's been with us for, ever. She was here when I came.
I found him coming home from school with my kids, and he was running down the street on 83rd and Deer Valley. And I knew he was a baby at the time. He actually has juvenile arthritis. So a lot of people don't realize a lot of the diseases that people get, birds also get. They can even get diabetes. So there's a lot there. So we have him, he can't be released. We took him to Dr. Frank, who then examined him and realized with the x-rays that he did have the arthritis, and he is now one of our ambassadors because he can't fly. But he's very cool. When they come in as babies especially, we have to make sure that we get them where they can eat on their own. And they have to be eating on their own at least for a week before we can release them. Then the next thing is, because we do have some of them in the house, and it's more for volunteers than it is for the birds, for the coolness, we need to get them used to the outside temperatures. And then we need to have them basically in an aviary for about a week to make sure that they build up their wing strength. The other thing we try and do is we always try and release them with a buddy, because everybody needs a buddy in this world, and they don't have their parents now. We do let them get older than they would be with their parents, because the parents can follow them around and say, hey, you know, come here or do this, where we give them a size advantage because we can't follow them the way a parent would. I can say that one of our biggest issues is the fact that it's kind of me with a phone. So we don't always get to the phone calls all the time, because we get over 200 phone calls a day usually during this time of year. And sometimes we have to take care of the birds before we answer the phone. So sometimes texting is a little bit easier. And going to our website and following the directions there of what it is, because we do this out of my home and don't have a receptionist and everything. If I do get to go to the grocery store or something, I've got cages by the front door that you can leave a bird in until I get out, which would just be a short period of time usually. But that way you can pretty much drop a bird off at any time. Please don't ring the doorbell at 2 in the morning though. We do need to sleep sometime. If you're interested more in volunteering or helping us out, or maybe having a presentation, just give us a call at 623-533-2348, or check out our website, www.fallenfeathers.org. We're also on Facebook.